Hello there. Today I got a review for Honeywell Gent. Introduction. Honeywell Gent, formerly Gents of Leicester, is a British manufacturer for life safety equipment. Established by John Thomas Gent, the company is thought to have started in 1872. However, it could have been traded as early as 1860s. The company had a workforce of several hundred at its height. For over a century, the company was a well-known manufacturer of electrical equipment, in particular its electric clocks, which were used in public buildings and railway stations all over the world. Since the late 20th century, the company's primary focus has been fire detection and alarm systems. Early years. During the early years of the company, John T. Gent and Company manufactured both electric and finger-mounted bells and other indicating equipment. By 1888, the company had sizable catalog for electrical and mechanical products, as well as products intended for the generation and storage of electricity. Gent also manufactured cables, however, this would be brought to an end in 1914. Early 20th century. In 1914, Midland Electric Wiring Manufacturing Company ceased trading, bringing an end to the manufacturing of cables at the Faraday Watts factory on St. Saviour's Road. The reclaimed factory space was used to further grow in the business. By the 1930s, Gent were manufacturing bells, clocks, power supplies, fire alarm systems, telephones, signaling and recording equipment. The company also produced sirens as well as electrical parts for aircraft, communications, and radar equipment. Trading as Gents of Leicester by the 1940s, the company also owned showrooms to demonstrate its products. Mid to late 20th century. Some of Gent's most recognizable products were produced during the mid to late 20th century. The company continued making electric bells and trading as Chloride Gent Warbler, one of the first electronic fire alarm sounders. The Warblers. No, I'm not referring to the Dalton Academy Warblers from Glee. The warblers were extremely loud and were used in many schools across the United Kingdom. The original warbler has three selectable tones: warble, continuous, and intermittent. It had adjustable pitch and speed dials. Later, models such as the Model 3500 warbler were considerably quieter, lacked speed and pitch controls, and included an additional tone, the sweep tone. Due to the success of the warblers, other companies started manufacturing similar electronic sounders and such as Protest SR2. In recent years, the warblers have become valuable collector's items due to their increasing scarcity. Model 1102 and Model 1500. Chloride Gent's other popular products included the Model 1102 manual control point, which could be fitted with an optional hammer attached to a chain. Model 1102 control points could be used on AC or DC fire alarm systems. Gent continued making sirens such as the Model 1500, often used in large open areas or industrial spaces. The Model 1500 sounded very similar to air raid sirens. Model 2511, 2510, and 1195. Following the acquisition by the MK Electric Group, Gent, now Gent Limited, continued producing life safety equipment. In 1980s, saw the introduction of new electronic sounders. The model 2511 and 2510 were manufactured until 2003. The company also introduced the 1195 manual core point, distinguishable by its square design as opposed to the rectangular design of the model 1102. System 3400. The current Gent addressable protocol, called the Gent 3217 protocol, started with the launch of the System 3400 fire alarm system in 1985. The panel was one of the first addressable fire alarm systems ever created and was revolutionary compared to the simplistic conventional fire alarm systems that preceded it. Both power and data should be carried across two conductors. System 3400 was available with both 4 and 8 loop panels and the 34L4 and 34L8 respectively. It was not until 1985 that loop-powered sounders would be available for System 3400, partly due to the difficulties in reducing their power consumption so as not to affect loop communication. System 3300. System 3300 was a cut-down version of System 3400, marketed as a cheaper option for installers and businesses. It used the same 3217 protocol as System 3400, but was limited to 2 loops. Devices were similar to those of System 3400, however, had a more visible System 3300 branding. 3320 sounders had a white horn section instead of the more common gray style of 3420s. System 3300 was sold as a Senator under the SMS brand. Devices did not include the Senator logo. System 3300 MK2. A revised version of the System 3300 was released, called System 3300 MK2. System 3300 MK2 used a panel design similar to System 3220's 3220 control panels. System 2400. System 2400 was an even more simplistic addressable system limited to the 1 loop. It was also marketed as a cheaper option for the installers and businesses and was a potential upgrade path for customers with conventional systems who wanted the advantages of addressable systems. System 2400 used conventional detectors fitted to Model 2420 adjustable bases, which were connected to zone modules on the adjustable loop. A maximum of 16 zone modules could be connected to the loop. Compatible detectors included the 7630 ionization detector, 7640 optical detector, 7650 fixed temperature heat detector, 7660 rate revised heat detector, and 7011 beam detector. System 34000. 1995 saw the release of a new range of devices and panels. Following the acquisition by Keradan, Gent released the 34000 series of devices for sale with both System 3400 and System 34000. These devices were much more compact and had a more modern design. Model codes were relatively similar, with most just having a 0 appended to the 3400 equivalent. For example, the 3480 MCP manual core point became the 34800. Others, such as the 3420-02/03 loop-powered sounder became 34,202/3. 34,000 era MCPs can be identified by their red lever mechanism, which supports the break loss element as opposed to the black mechanism of 3400 era devices. 34,000 S-Quad adapter base. To help upgrade unsupported systems, Gent released the 34,000 S-Quad adapter base S4-700-34K, allowing S-Quad detectors to be installed into Vigilon systems running 34,000 loops quickly and easily without having to replace the 34,700 detector bases. The S-Quad adapter base is not compatible with 19279-01 system semi-flush mounting kit or the 19279-10 sensor trim kit ring. If either of these trim rings are used, the 34,000 base must be removed, the sealing repaired or replaced, and a regular S4-700 base or an S4-flush base installed. 34,000 S-Quad adapter base. That's not supposed to be in here. Hold on. Sorry, that slide wasn't meant to be there. Continuing on. System 32,000. Released in 1996, System 32,000 replaced System 3300 and saw a brand new panel design as well as devices similar to those in the 34,000 range. Like System 3300, it was a cut down, cheaper option and was limited to 2 loops. The 32,000 devices had a similar appearance to the System 3400 devices, but the model numbers began with 32 instead of 34. Some devices had slightly changed model numbers to their 34,000 equivalents, such as the 32,775 optical heat sensor sounder, whose system 34,000 equivalent was 34,770 optical heat sensor sounder. System 800, continuing the hybrid addressable range, introduced with System 24,000. System 800 brought a new, smaller panel and new devices. System 800 was sold under the SMS brand as Euro panel. It utilized the Gent conventional 17,800 detector series mounted on an adjustable detector base. Vigilon. In 1997, the Vigilon was released. The original Vigilon features a blue LCD display and was originally released with the System 34,000 devices as its device suite. In 1999, the Vigilon was released due to the release of a new set of sounders, detectors, and manual call points. The panel still featured a purple display. The panel was marketed with another horn-style sounder, the Viz-SND, and detectors and control points that were again similar to the 32,000 and 34,000 devices. The Vigilon system has been sold under the SMS brand as Senator Advance, Century 2 Vigilon Compact, and Century 4 1-6 loop panel. S-Cube sounders. Around 2001, along with the first generation of S-Cube S3 sounders, Mark 1 S-Cube sounders are officially compatible with the 3400, 3300, and 32,000 and 34,000 panels, but depending on model, could require a panel firmware upgrade or loop card replacement. S2 devices were made as replacements for legacy three-way sounders as often seen on 34,000 or 3400 and 34,000 systems, and these devices are also compatible with Vigilon systems. The S2 strobe was also introduced to allow strobes to be added to existing buildings with older Vigilant 34,000 and 32,000 or older systems. Vigilant Plus. In 2017, the Vigilant Plus was released, a minor revision of the tuner panel. It added a little functionality, bearing more cosmetic changes to the then functional changes. However, a new SD card reader was added to allow configuration information to be transferred to the Vigilant using the SD card slot. It also changed the layout of the panel, with both changes to the panel along with a new black panel door and marked Honeywell Gent logo rather than a Vigilant logo sticker. Safe interface system. In 2019, Gent released the Safe, a device and interface system designed to reduce false alarms in residential buildings. Gent also revised the S Quad and S Cube with software v1-20, v1.20. However, there aren't any noticeable differences besides an increased tone length and improved quality of voice messages on voice sounders, as the devices are functionally and visually the same as the previous versions released in 2014. Tone hold upon audible silence. All Gent sounders may hold their tone when a silence is issued from the panel. This is done to allow the devices to stop sounding at the same time. In 2019, the length of the tone hold was increased with minor revisions to the S Quad and S Cubed range. It isn't known why this decision was made. A new range of S Quad detectors. In 2023, Gent introduced a new range of S Quad detectors that are able to self-test both the heat and smoke elements of the detector. In applicable devices, the new S Quad range uses aerosol smoke to test the optical smoke sensor and ensure that detectors' entry points are not blocked. The detector temporarily disables itself to ensure the testing process does not cause a system activation and or a fire evacuation. These devices are also designed so that if another device, whether it's another S-Quad or a manual call point, is activated on the system, the self-test feature will be disabled and the fire system will return to normal functionality while other devices remain in an activated state. Vigilant Compact. In the early 2000s, Gent released the Vigilant Compact, a similar concept to System 32,000. Again, limited to 2 loops, the system was designed as a cheaper alternative for smaller sites. The Vigilant Compact does not feature a full QWERTY keyboard and requires a different form factor of loop card. The Vigilant Compact shares the same devices as Vigilant Compact Voice. Following the release of the Vigilant Compact around 2006, Gent released the Vigilant Compact Voice, a Vigilant Compact system that also featured an integrated PA/VA system. This allowed for an all-in-one solution to be installed, where voice speakers, detection, call points, and sounders could all be installed as part of one system. This allowed the building to use a mix of Gent S3 and S4 sounder detectors and voice alarm devices. This was discontinued shortly after the release of the Honeywell D1 voice alarm system. Vigilant Compact Plus. In 2017, the Vigilant Compact Plus was released. This, similar to the Vigilant Plus, does not add any significant changes to the panel design, introducing the SD card reader, a small change to the design of the controls, a full QWERTY keyboard with the black panel door. Nano. In 2009, Gent released the Nano, a small single-loop panel designed to be cheaper alternative to a full Vigilant or Vigilant Compact. The Nano has a drastically different user interface to both Vigilant panels and requires its own separate commissioning software. Nano uses the same suite as Vigilant, with the exception of the self-test sensors which require Vigilant or Vigilant Compact systems, but has a smaller, more stylish control panel design. Software. For many years, Gent has released commissioning software for its analog adjustable range of fire-alarm control panels. The Vigilant and Vigilant Compact control panels are compatible with the Vigilant commissioning tool, allowing for the configuration of complex cause and effect as well as voice messages for voice-enabled S3 and S4 devices. Separate software has been released for other panels such as the System 32000, System 800, and the Nano. Mimic panels require their own configuration software separate to the main commissioning software. Sounder tones. All Gent loop-powered sounders can output 3 different tones except on older panels, where there is only support for 2 tones, and the Nano where there is support for 4 tones. The tones can be customized in the commissioning tool, for example, disabling the voice function for the tone or disabling the strobe or VAD for a tone. There are limited customization options available from the panel itself. In addition to this, there is an additional bell tone that can be enabled in the commissioning tool on S-Quad and S-Cubed devices that are fitted with a voice sounder. Signal 3 in the 2019 update was changed slightly from "Attention please, this is an emergency. Please leave the building by the nearest available exit" to "Attention please, please leave the building by the nearest available exit." There is also an additional tone used individually on sounders to locate them, known as Find Device or Signal 0, which provides a test message saying no action is required. EN54 compliant loop cards. In 2014, after the release of the high-power VADS cubed and S-Quad devices, Gent released a more powerful loop card that was capable of taking advantage of the full power of these devices. However, despite using the same Gent 2317 protocol, compatibility with some devices, such as earlier S-Quad sounder detectors and 34,000 detectors, is not limited. In some cases, such as with 3400 and 34,000 devices, it is not available at all. Power output to newer devices is also limited if older S-Quad, S-Cubed, and 34,000 devices are used on the same loop. EN54 compliant loop cards are required for S-Quad self-test detectors. Conventional fire alarm systems. Since the late 20th century, Gent has continued to build upon its conventional offering. Conventional products released by Gent include the Xenex control panels, C3 conventional sounders, which were available with voice, and the 17800 detector range, consisting of the 17830 ionization smoke detector, 17840 optical smoke detector, 17850 fixed rate heat detector, 17860 rate of rise heat detector, and 17870 high heat detector. The C3 range was never re-released with an EN54 VAD, unlike its S3 counterpart, instead of being discontinued. Later, Later, Gent conventional systems used KAC control points, as well as KAC EN-scape sounders, replacing the 1195 control point design and C3 range of conventional sounders. EN54 compliant gloss with a white background was also made available to replace the non-compliant transparent design on both conventional and addressable systems. Wireless fire systems, Plexus. During the early 21st century and continued development of Vigilon, Gent released a new range of hybrid wireless products, Plexus. Plexus was used mesh networking technology with a loop-powered transceiver, allowing addressable loops to be extended with wireless sensors, sounders, and manual control points. Plexus installs are less common than their wired counterparts, with one notable installation being the entrance to Norwich Station. Gent has discontinued the replacement purchase of Plexus parts. It is unknown as to why, but currently, replacing the Plexus device involves either using the used part, new old stock, wiring a new S-Quad or S-Cube device, or replacing the wireless technology or fire system as a whole. Spear Marketing Services, SMS. Spear Marketing Services, SMS, was established in the 1980s as a subsidiary of Gent. The company sold Gent products under the SMS brand name using different marketing strategies. Today, SMS continues to sell current Gent products via distributors, although the criteria to become a distributor is less strict. Modern SMS products have minor differences to their Gent counterparts, such as devices having their pull-in LEDs enabled by default, a lack of voice on all sounder devices, and missing Gent/Gent by Honeywell branding. Location. Its main design and manufacturing center and headquarters were at the Faraday was in Temple Road. Faraday was in Temple Road, Leicester, but after World War II, the company expanded into nearby Kibworth. A premises at London Road was used at this time. In the early 1990s, a new large building was constructed in the Hamilton area of Leicester, and the other buildings were all closed. By February 1991, the company had finished moving to the new premises. Takeovers. In 1975, Gent of Leicester was taken over by the international organization Chloride and was known as Chloride Gent. In July 1983, the company was sold by Chloride to MK Electric Group, becoming Gent Limited. The factory at Kibworth closed, and only a few jobs remained at the central Leicester works. In 1993, the company was acquired by Caradine/Novara. In 2005, the company was acquired by Honeywell and has been known as Gent by Honeywell and, most recently, Honeywell Gent. The company is legally known as Novara Systems Ltd. Still based in Leicester, the company is now mostly involved with fire detection and alarm systems. The end. So that does it for this very long slideshow about Honeywell Gent. So if you liked it, hit the like button, subscribe, and set the notification bell to all so you never miss a future upload. And comment below any other information you know about Honeywell Gent that I might not have included in this video. With all that being said, I'll see you all in the next one.